Let's jump into the production stuff because I'm sure it's way more interesting than the actual movie.
Yeah, 128 million, almost 128.9 million worldwide. And also 5 million of that goes to Wesley Snipes because he sues this movie for $5 million after it comes out.
What for?
So... Okay, so...
He's just laughing at his notes now.
I'm laughing
The rest of this podcast is just Henry laughing and not being able to speak.
Okay, so Wesley Snipes, apparently, like, the last two movies have a bit of, like, a interracial kind of production cast. And effectively, Wesley Snipes is suing them because he thinks that, A, there was a mostly white cast to kind of isolate him.
Okay.
And B, that Jessica Biel and Ryan Reynolds are kind of, like, edging him out of his own movie.
Okay, I can see that I can understand that feeling, right? If this is one of the few big black-led franchises, and then you bring in two huge white stars who are bigger than Wesley Snipes. I can understand in a diva way why he might like feel like he's being edged out a bit.
I think in isolation that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what you have to understand is that Wesley Snipes, throughout this entire movie, is high as fuck.
On what? Do we
He's
know?
smoking weed the whole way through.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay, so a lot of this...
That would explain why in a lot of scenes he just looks like he's like thinking about something else.
Yeah.
Or not thinking.
At all. And so remember I was talking about like his fight choreography?
Yeah.
That's not Wesley Snipes at all.
Oh, wait, why was it so bad then?
Because it was just some dude. It was like a body double, I think, they found. And Wesley Snipes
not a stunt double.
I don't think so. A body double.
Did you just get like Wesley Snipes' brother or something?
Something like that. So a lot of the movie is like just shots of Wesley Snipes close-ups.
There are a lot of shots where they do a close-up of Wesley Snipes and then they cut to behind someone who looks like Blade as they speak to like Whistler or whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of the movie is that. And
what is that? Because he was just like asleep in his trailer.
He just refused to come out a lot of the time.
Right.
Like him and like
I'm not coming out of my trailer until I get a nicer trailer.
Pretty much. But he's high the whole way through. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of this from Patton Oswalt's interview with the AV Club from 2012.
Okay.
So
I would say so far I'm on Wesley Snipes' side.
Okay.
And I know that's a bit insane, but see if you can shift me from that position.
So this is from the Wikipedia page from Blade Trinity. Reportedly, series star Wesley Snipes was unhappy with the film's script and original choice director. David S. Goyer, who had written all 3 films in the franchise, was then selected to replace the original director of the film, which Snipes also protested.
Wait, who was the original director?
I don't remember. I couldn't find out. But I think the original idea for Blade, the reason why he kind of came onto this movie, was that initially, do you know the scene where they're like harvesting like humans for blood?
Yeah.
So the idea was that like that was gonna be a central plot of the film. Was like
because I remember that was they actually had the idea for the first Blade and it was a deleted scene.
Yeah.
And then they didn't run with it. So David S. Goyer clearly had that idea.
And they were going to go with that, but they changed it halfway through to what we have before. That's where Dracula comes in.
Oh, that makes sense because I remember the scene with the blood bags.
Yeah.
Which for those who can't remember, it's basically giant blood bags of just humans who are in comas so that they can have a supply without living humans.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually one of the cooler parts of the film because you see Jessica Biel kind of react to it and be like, this is such a heartless thing. And you got a human who's like the FBI guy who's like, I have to do this. You know, they've already won. You know, I just got to like go with this even though it's horrifying. And it's kind of like a cool thing. And then they kind of just like the Blade is like, okay, turn it off. And then some random extra who was in the scene the whole time apparently just turns them all off. And then they leave and then it's never brought up again.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, that's a bit strange, you know? Because there wasn't really much of it wasn't teased at all. It just pops up and then goes away again 5 minutes later.
Yeah. So
that was going to be the main plot.
That was going to be the main plot. It was like Blade fighting for the rest of humanity.
Right.
And that was going to be... I called... Pat also says, but I thought that was just so fucking grim.
Wow, it's a fucking Blade movie, man.
So they have Blade fighting Dracula instead. And Wesley Snipes does not like this.
Yeah,
and
I mean, especially if you're not like a huge comic guy, the fact of bringing Dracula in might sound like even more insane.
Yeah. I'm going to like skip over it because there's a lot to go through here. Here we go. He not only refers to himself as Blade So he'd be like, "Hello, I am Blade."
Right.
And because
So he's in character all the time.
all the time, yeah. He'd communicate a lot of the time with just post-its signed Blade.
That's awesome. I really hope there's a photo out there of one of these post-it notes.
Yeah. And like Wesley Snipes actually admitted this in an interview that that's how he communicates with the co-stars and the rest of the production team.
Yeah, okay, cool.
And then
Still on his side.
Still on this side. And the reason this happened is because he fell out with the screenwriter and director, David S. Goyer.
Okay.
And the reason behind this, the actual flashpoint, is amazing. This from Patton Oswalt, right, who says, one day on the set, and he explains, they let everyone pick their own clothes. There was one black actor who was kind of also a club kid, and he wore the shirt with the word garbage on it in big stylish letters, and it was his shirt. It was his shirt.
Go on.
So when Snipes comes down to the set, it's usually does the close-ups. Everything else is done by standing, as we kind of established. But he comes on and he says, "There's only one other black guy in the movie, and you make him wear a shirt that says garbage?" You racist motherfucker!
I wish.
And at this point,
Oh, I wish racism was that cartoonish. That would be so much easier to deal with if that's what white people would do.
And the best part is that at this point, he starts to strangle the director.
What, like legit strangle him? Oh, okay, I'm not sure if I can condone that.
Yeah. So that's why him and David S. Goyer are no longer on speaking terms.
Wait, so Wesley Snipes still thinks that was a directorial decision?
Yeah. And that's why he strangled him. And there's a whole thing about, like, David S. Goyer, like, getting Ron Perlman to act as his bodyguard. And shit
Why
like
was
that.
Ron Perlman there?
Apparently he's, like, in, like, town or something. And David S. Goyer's like, "Can you, like, pretend to be my bodyguard for a bit? So Wesley Snipes doesn't fuck with me."
I guess that's one of the few people that you wouldn't fuck with.
Oh, God. Right. As a whole thing, like, David S. Goyer, like, and him not talking. At some point, it goes to the direction, goes like, "I think you should leave this film." And I'm not going to get into it. But what I will say is that apparently Wesley Snipes also referred to Ryan Reynolds as that cracker.
I'm back on his side again. I'm back on.
Things like, "Tell that cracker he's out of my line," or "Tell that cracker to get his lines right."
Oh, Team Wesley.
I'm gonna, like, just not go too much into detail because that's probably enough. But yeah, like, the whole reason that, like, there's so much bad improv is because they were literally just, like, trying to say, like, the weirdest shit possible just to have, like, a cut to Blade, like, reacting to it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, that would explain why there's a lot of, like, what feels like Ryan Reynolds improv in this.
There is. And this is a quote from Patton Oswalt. He says, "What are the worst jokes and puns we can say to this guy?" And then it will just be going to his face going, and then smiles are contagious. And also, this is from apparently DVD commentary, but I haven't seen it because I wasn't going to. But apparently, Blade wanted to film a sex scene in this movie.
Okay, yeah, because he's gone 2 movies now without any sex.
Yeah.
So he's like, he's probably thinking, like, Blade's got to have sex.
Yeah, Blade's got to fuck, right? And Jessica Biel shut this down.
Oh, he wanted to have sex with Jessica Biel specifically.
Yeah.
And she... Oh, no. That's so awkward.
Yeah.
I guess it's. I mean, she might not have wanted to do a sex scene in general, but also if an actor's specifically going, "Can I have a sex scene with that woman?" That's probably
That's pretty awkward.
Although I guess there's not really any other women in this movie really that he would.
Natasha Lyonne.
I guess that they would need to do a lot of plot contrivance to make that happen.
This is not beyond this movie.
And the other one's like 8 years old, so that's a no-go.
That's a no-no.
And the other one's a vampire.
That could be something.
They already did that in the last movie, and Parker Posey's like super evil. It's the only option in his defense if he is to have sex with someone. It needed to be Jessica Biel or bring in a character. Bring Karen back from Blade 1 to have sex with him and then leave.
Yeah, just walk away. Like,
okay, right, off his side again. I know I'm flip-flopping a lot, but I'm not on Team Wesley. Now I'm on Team Biel.
Team Biel. So,
if you can believe it. Oh, God.
Believe-it, I mean...
I fucked up that.
Yeah. That's why I do the puns and you do the reaction to the puns. I've tried to keep my notes short, but that's the highlights of the Blade Trinity production story. And I kind of condensed that down a lot.
So did he sue based on discrimination?
Yeah. Partly on discrimination, being like...
And did he win?
They settled out of court.
Oh, okay. When did he go to jail for tax evasion?
Did it off the top of my head.
Okay.
Like the most convincing Blade villain in the whole franchise.
I must search for Blade tax evasion. It was the following year that he was charged.
Yeah.
So 2006. So presumably, when was this lawsuit?
I think it was like after completing the film. So it would have been like 2003 or 4, maybe.
Yeah, that was 2005.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's suing before he has money troubles.
Yeah. Which was he was high all the time. And apparently, as well as that, Natasha Lyonne was having like an actual breakdown on set.
Really?
Because like she'd been struggling with drugs and stuff like that for a while.
Yeah.
So like there's one like
oh my god, this must be a nightmare.
Yeah.
Set.
So there's one anecdote from Pat Oswalt where he's like explaining Natasha Lyonne's going really for it, and she touches like Wesley Snipes' face during a scene.
Yeah.
And he like visibly recoils.
Right.
And it was just like really awkward on set for a while.
God, I mean, she's actually, I'd say, like, we said Jessica Biel was good. Natasha Lyonne has very little to do, but she's actually, she's really good. I haven't seen her be not great in anything.
No.
She's good in this, despite apparently having the worst time on set.
Yeah, just having a full-on breakdown. Apparently, like, they are, like, sent her, like, trying to get an interview for the movie, and they were, like, given, like, a set of questions by her lawyer, but they never got back to them. Yeah. It was this whole thing.
God.
This movie is a fucking train wreck.
In that way, like I'd say any kind of big budget movie is kind of a miracle that any of them are good, because it's super hard to make a movie, super hard to make that collaboration work. Even harder when you've got all these different interests of different studios and distributors and sponsoring and different stars wanting different things. There's a lot going on here that makes any movie like this hard to do. But like you throw in all that stuff, it completely makes sense that this movie isn't good.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Wesley Snipes still managed to like put in a few good scenes in this.
Because he did anything he was doing.
I mean, I knew that there was something that happened in it behind the scenes, and I just assumed it would make his performance worse, not better.
I think part of it is that like when he's on the screen, that's the only thing he's getting to do.
Yeah. Do you think there's like an element of other actors do this same thing, but because it's a black star, it's more of a big deal?
Marlon Brando did a similar thing for...
There's a lot of...
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, there's a lot of character actors
like, leading men.
Yeah, who are, like, really hard to deal with on set. I think Christian Bale has been like that. I think Casey Affleck has been like that. I think... And sometimes it's gone into, like, abuse and stuff, and sometimes it's just, like, this person is a huge asshole. And people kind of put up with it when it's, like, these white male leads.
Yes.
I mean, not to downplay the fact that like it sounds like Wesley Snipes
just lost his goddamn mind.
Yeah, and in a way that I am with him 90% of the way. I'm with him all the way up until he says, "Can I have a sex scene with Jessica Biel?" That's such an uncomfortable thing to put on another person.
For me, when he strangled the director. You can't strangle the director of your own film.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to condone that. Okay, those are the two things. But everything else was great.
Yeah. Getting high in this trailer, like, convinced he was a vampire, Post-its. There's so much crazy shit.
Okay, you know what? Okay, I'm starting to regret saying I was on these things. I'm really not. It sounds like he was really abusive and this is really terrible for everyone.
It's crazy.
But I do support him calling Ryan Reynolds a cracker.
Referring to him as the cracker.
The cracker.
Tell the cracker to get out of my scene.
He's the cracker like it's the Batman and the Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Tell the cracker to get out of my scene.
Oh my god.